All right, lesson 3.2 is still about proportions and still about finding the percent, the part, or the whole. So if you remember from the last video, the equation we use is that it's 100 or percent over 100 is equal to your part over your whole. So we can use that equation to solve each of these three. One of them is finding the percent, the other one is finding the part, and the last one is finding the whole. So let's look at the first question. So the rabbit population in a certain area is 200% of last year's population. There are 1,100 rabbits this year. How many were there last year? Okay, so we need to determine what our percent is, and then what our part or what our whole is, and which one we're actually looking for. So I know we're not looking for percent because the percent is right here, 200%. So that's 200 over 100 is equal to, and then we need to determine, the only other number in the problem is this 1100 over here. We need to determine if that 1100 is the whole or is the part. So if you'll also remember from the last video, I said part is and of whole. Okay, so how can we use that to determine whether 1100 is the part or the whole? Where it said, well, it says the rabbit population in a certain area is, and the rabbit population right now is 1100. So we're going to say that 1100 is our part because we found the is in there and there's no of. Of what? Okay, to do this one, it's just your cross multiplying. So you're doing 1,100 times 100. So 1,100 times 100 is going to give you 110,000, and then we're going to divide by 200, divided by 200, and that's going to give us an x of 550. Okay, so if we look back at the problem, does 550 make sense? Well, it said the rabbit population this year is 200% of last year's. 550 is 200% of 1,000, or 1,100, sorry, I'm saying it backwards. 1,100 is, that was our part, 200% of 550. So last year was less because this year is twice as much, which is the 200. So if we look at the next problem, it says a company that makes hair care products had 3,000 people try a new shampoo. Of the 3,000 people, 9 had mild allergic reaction. What percent of the people had a mild allergic reaction? Okay, so what percent means that I know we're not going to know the percent part. So now we just need to find out whether the 3,000 and the 9 are the part or the whole. Well, this one's pretty straightforward. Only part of the sample had a mild allergic reaction, and that part was 9 people out of the 3,000. Okay, so we're solving for percent this time, but we're still using the multiply and then divide. So this time we're going to multiply and then divide. 9 times 100 is 900. Divided by 3,000 is equals 0.3% equals 0.3%. Okay, so 0.3% of the people who tried the shampoo had a mild allergic reaction. So if I was looking to buy this shampoo, I wouldn't be scared off by that statistic. So if we look at our last question here, what is 380% of 60? So there's that of, so I should already know that 60 is our whole. So we have 380 over 100 equals what of 60? Okay, cross multiply here. Multiply your 380 times 60 divided by 100. 380 times 60 is 22,800 divided by 100 is, so x equals 228. Okay, so the number that is 380% of 60 is 228. So 228 out of 60 is a 380% on your exam. That's a pretty awesome score. So for all of these problems, just like in 3-1, we're still going to focus on this main equation up here. If you can write it out, please write it out. It's math. You're going to make sure that you make less mistakes if you actually write it out. So set up your proportion is what this is called. Make sure you found the right part in the right hole, and you are putting percent where it goes, and we should have no problem with the material covered in 3-2.